it's Kevin here. Today we're going to look at an OET Nursing referral stroke transfer letter, but this one's got a lot of problems. Well, for one thing, the organisation is way off, the structure, and there's a lot of irrelevant detail, and the main condition is way too far down in the letter. So there's lots of things we've got to look at. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you or explain how you can fix it. So let's get straight in. Hello, it's Kevin here. Time for the video once again. So first things first, as always, disclaimer, fair use, non-profit, blah blah blah. I mentioned that because we're using some case notes. I haven't seen these particular notes before from some book. I don't really know if it's from some school or institute, BGHUD. So I don't know about that. Anyway, fair use, non-profit, etc. Okay, so this is for the nurses among you. So what are we doing? We go to the task first to look at audience and purpose. Okay, so we're introducing this patient, and we need to give the background, medical history, and treatment required. Not a lot of treatment apparently when we take a look at the notes. So history, so family and patient requested no further treatments be used. So there's no treatment as such. She's not being treated. She's there to die, not to mince words. You know, it comes to us all. Well, so comfort, dignity, and to relieve pain. So it seems to be some stomachy cancer, intestine, bowel resection, colostomy. Oh dear. Not expected to survive more than 3 months. So that was in April. So what's that? January, February, March, April. That's like 4. So what's that? March, April, May, June, July. So not expected to survive more than 3 to 4 months. So this is the 1st of August. So presumably she's only got a few weeks at the most, based on this timeline here. So she's not going to be there for a very long time, it seems. Okay. Now, first thing I have to say is, like, who are you writing to? You're writing to the director of nursing. So essentially, it's the manager, admin, right? It's a manager, essentially. So you probably don't need to, use too many medical terms or whatever, because it's a manager, director of nursing. But still, they could be a nurse. They should be. You never know, though. So what does the reader need? They need to know that she's, well, essentially alone. She just has a brother. Family and patient, well, that's only one. Family and patient, okay. So this began in March 2009. So what's that? 4 months ago, 3-4 months ago. Cancer, lower intestine. So now, what you probably don't want to include is a lot of detail about what happened in the hospital, because that stuff really is irrelevant, inconsequential. Because if you think about it, all you're doing, you're sending me this patient, not to mince words, but to die. So, do I need to know about the transdermal patch and the IV kind of fluids, and she was nauseated? Well, obviously not. I need to know what she's got. It's cancer, stomach cancer. How long she's got to go. A matter of weeks, perhaps, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. And I need to know what, so you need to watch your medication, give her plenty of meds for the pain. She's not eating food, but she can drink, so she's got blood fluids. Generally doesn't have any pain, but very weak. So I'll need to Know that, disorientated, weak, not really eating, drinking, and that's basically it. So a lot of the stuff there we don't really need. Yeah, we don't actually need for the reader's purpose. Okay. So let's have a look. I'm writing to transfer Mrs. Maeve Greason, who requires to make a management into your facility. You could do that. I would probably put a little bit more, because just say introducing this patient. Now, OET Writing Guide, Ultimate Writing Guide, and EDU Benchmark Blog, which I keep referring to, keep on talking about the need for personalisation. Don't use the same words, the same phrases everybody else does. Choose your verbs. So if you're introducing, you can say that. You can say, I'm writing to introduce Mrs. Maeve Greason. I would put her age. I usually do, name, age, occupation, or simply name and age. So I would do that. So I put, I'm writing to introduce Mrs. Maeve Greason. She's a widow, so you could say that. You could say, a 75-year-old widow. Now, are you going to say has terminal cancer? You could do that, I suppose, because the purpose criteria does say you need to be as direct, immediate as possible. So I would probably put that in. It's something about the cancer in the purpose. I mean, it's not. It's true that not everyone who goes into a hospice has cancer. Most people do, from what I've been told, but not always. So I would probably put that in. I'd probably put that in the purpose part. I'm writing to introduce Mrs. Maeve Greason, a 75-year-old widow. Suffering, I don't really like you to use those like words. Whose diagnosis is terminal cancer, or who has been diagnosed with stomach cancer or whatever. So you could do that. So simply say who's been diagnosed with instead of suffering. So you could say, I'm writing to introduce Mrs. Maeve Greason, 75-year-old widow, who has been diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer, for your further care and management. Okay, I would maybe do something such as that, right? Get some better marks for your purpose part. Now, like I said, it's not an urgent, right, so if you've got a referral, if you've got an urgent referral, you usually put today's visit as paragraph 2, yeah? But it's not. So why is it starting with the hospital? Now, as I keep saying to my many students on italki, right, you have to think, who you're writing to, what do they know? Okay, and your letter should be the only document, or would be the only document that they would see, right? So as such, it needs to tell the full story, right? So I don't have to look, which I wouldn't be able to, and in real life, this is the document that they would be reading. So I shouldn't have to look at the case notes to work out what you're trying to tell me. So it should be a complete story, all right? Because that's what you're doing. You're constructing a narrative. You're telling a story, right? So I will probably start with the hospital, because it says here, right? Brought into the hospital following collapse at home. Okay, so again, now, OET also says order of importance. Most important thing, next most important thing, paragraphs and sentences within your paragraph, okay? So, is the most important thing that you want me to, the first thing I'm going to read, she had a fall, she collapsed at home. So I'm reading this. I don't know anything else. Okay, you're transferring this person. Oh, she collapsed at home. And what? So she needs to come into a palliative care hospital because she collapsed at home. So you can see why I said I would mention the cancer in the purpose, because that sets the scene for the rest of the letter. Because if you don't, the reader that doesn't know this, reading, okay, she was dehydrated, well, that's very sad for her, doesn't sound particularly life-threatening though, having a collapse at home. Why are you sending her here? Good question, because you haven't mentioned the terminal illness yet. So that should be a lot higher. So I know what you're talking about. Yeah? Otherwise, I'm kind of reading, I'm trying to work out what is going on here. So I would put the paragraph 2, right. She has had a laparoscopy, was suspected to have cancer. Well, it wasn't suspected, it was confirmed. So you don't need to say it was, right, so we know what she's got, right? It's cancer. So you don't need to say she had a laparoscopy, I don't know, and was suspected, and then it proved it, ready for, right? So you need to tell me what she's got. That should be paragraph 2, right? Mrs. Grayson was diagnosed with cancer following with a subsequent laparoscopy, was it? What is that word? Laparoscopy, was it? Oh dear, sorry. Laparotomy. All right. So paragraph 2, you need to tell me Mrs. Grayson was diagnosed with cancer in March of this year of a lower intestine with widespread metastases. A laparotomy was performed along with a bowel resection and a colostomy. Subsequently, she underwent 6 weeks of radiation therapy for symptomatic relief. However, the prognosis at that time was no more than 3 to 4 months. That's what I would put for paragraph 2. Right? Not was brought into hospital following a collapse at home. She was dehydrated, nausea was present with severe pain to which she was commencing IV fluids. Again, nursing director, palliative care, is asking, why are you telling me this? What's this got to do with me? Transdermal patch, occasional breakthrough pain, but still you haven't told me what she's got, right? So I'm having to read to find out what is going on here, right? That is not that's not what the examiners are looking for. So I'm reading severe edema, incontinence, she is weak. Okay, well, that's, I'm very sorry for Mrs. Grayson, but what's that got to do with me? Today she's being transferred to my hospice via an ambulance. Well, she's not going to be transferred via a horse and cart or a taxi. So again, most of paragraph 2 I don't need. I don't. Or you can simply condense it. Paragraph number 3, that should be paragraph 2. And then that paragraph kind of 3 should, that should say why she ended up in the hospital for this previous kind of week, right? So the laparotomy, suspected to have cancer. Well, it's not suspected, it was confirmed, maintaining dignity. Okay. In light of the above, in view of the above, provide management. Okay, so now I'm not going to say anything more there, but, and if this was in like Word, I would probably rewrite it and reword it and restructure it for you, because it's a photograph I cannot. So I hope you can see the point, right? This one, organisation, it doesn't work. There's some minor grammar There's lots of irrelevance here, but the actual structure, the organization of what you're trying to tell the reader, it doesn't work. Okay? Go and read OET Ultimate Writing Guide. Check out their blog for writing, for nursing, etc. So they'll tell you, you know, that purpose should be clear as possible. What is it you want me to actually do? What's the story? Then you're constructing a narrative. Do I need all this detail about what happened in the hospital? No, I don't. As I said, what I do need to know is what's her condition? It's cancer. How long has she got? Seems like a harsh question, but director of nursing, that's what he or she is going to think about. How long is she going to be here? Is it going to be a long-term stay, a short-term stay? So, what's the problem? Is it cancer? Yes. If so, what kind? How long does she have to go? Sounds like harsh, but that's what the director is thinking about. What's any special requirements? Any special requirements? So, she's not eating food. She needs plenty of drinks, of kind of fluids. Okay, she's got some issues. She's incontinent. She's got some trouble with ankles, so we might need to help her to walk around. All right. You know, she might need a walker or probably like a wheelchair. All right. So this is the kind of thing that the director of nursing is thinking about. Yeah. That's the information he or she would be requiring. So what's the problem? She's got cancer. Okay. How long has she got left? A few weeks. Okay. Any special requirements? She's not eating, but she needs plenty of drinks. She might need some pain kind of meds. She's incontinent. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Edema. So probably a wheelchair. That's what he's thinking about. That's what he or she wants to know. Okay? So this is why you have to think about audience and purpose, as I keep saying every time. So that's a little bit long, but I hope you can see what I'm trying to say. Okay? So I hope that helps, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Well, so I hope that gave you some ideas. I hope it kind of helped. So you can see just how important your structure is, your organization is. That's affecting your organization score, your conciseness and clarity score, adding all that irrelevant information. Like I said, you always need to think of audience and purpose, who you're writing to. That'll tell you what to include, what to exclude. Anyway, hope that gives you some ideas. So see you for the next video. Links below, etc. Subscribe, like, feel free to contact me, and if you have a letter you'd like me to take a look at, feel free to get in touch. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now.